Representative Hull, thanks for being on the program with us. Many people are saying the state's 2021 junk science law should have applied in this case. Why do you think it did not?
Thank you for having me. We are unsure why the courts are and have not applied our junk science statute in Robert's case. It is very clear that the new evidence that he should get a new trial under the junk science statute, and that never happened. All of the evidence that we have heard and that we have seen played out even in our House Criminal Jurisprudence Committee hearing yesterday from medical experts. We know that none of this has ever been heard by a jury, and medical experts were repeatedly thrown out as hearsay. So no one has ever heard all of this. And so we can't speak as to why the junk science statute was not followed, but it's very clear that it has not been followed.
What was the intent of the law when it was passed a few years ago?
To be able to grant relief under this. And it was not supposed to be any sort of viewed as negative in any way. It was whether it's shaken baby, it could be arson science, bite science, anything like that, to be able to grant relief to people who are clearly innocent.
And I've seen this news coverage, but attorneys say that the junk science law just has largely failed because appellate court judges just don't want to, rule against bad forensics. What kind of changes do you think lawmakers need to make when you return to Austin in January?
That's one thing that we are looking at. And it was one reason why the Criminal Jurisprudence Committee met yesterday to talk about all of this. And so we aren't sure exactly what changes. For us, it seems pretty clear. The statute is clear as to what needs to be done here and how it needs to be followed. The court's just choosing not to do it.
Is there a refinement of language, do you think, that's needed? I mean, you said you think that the language is pretty clear in there, but judges just aren't doing it.
Right. And again, that's something that the Criminal Jurisprudence Committee is looking at, and we will continue to look at as we move closer to session, because this is supposed to grant relief for people and for people to be able to get a new trial. We don't want innocent people in prison, and we certainly do not want innocent people executed in Texas.
Let's talk for a moment about tonight. What's happening right now with committee members? I mean, I presume you guys are reaching out to the governor's office, to the attorney general's office. I mean, what's going on right now behind the scenes?
Right. A lot of my colleagues, a lot of members are reaching out and calling everyone possible. And, there's a lot happening, whether it's with the Supreme Court, the Court of Criminal Appeals, the subpoena that the House committee did, sitting with the governor's option. There are so many things at play here, and we are only a few hours away.
Do you think, well, let me ask you this. How's it being received? Or are people taking your calls? Not just your calls. Are people taking calls from the committee?
They are, and it's not just the committee; it's other House members as well. This is a bipartisan effort, and beyond the Criminal Jurisprudence Committee as well. And so people are taking those calls. It seems to be a lot of us are having to correct a lot of false information out there. People saying off the wall things about this case and about Robert that are just simply false. And so it is clear that many people are not reading the filings, and they are not and did not tune in to the hearing yesterday. And so we are trying to correct a lot of false information. And this is one of the reasons we are saying we need to hit pause here. And Robert Roberson needs a new trial.
How much of a Hail Mary would you say this subpoena is that the committee issued?
Right. Well, it's unprecedented. And so, but we all had to know that no matter what happens, that everyone, we tried everything possible. And because the legislative purpose behind all of this is that our statute that the legislature passed is not followed. So there is a legislative purpose in subpoena, in giving Robert a subpoena. There is a legislative purpose. And so we need him to come and to testify to the House Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence, because there's things that he can only speak to. And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. Had Robert been given a new trial under the junk science statute and with his new attorney, there are so many chances that he could possibly have to speak and to talk about what happened and his perspective, but he has never been given that opportunity because he's never had a real defense, and none of this new evidence has ever been heard in court.
Let me ask you again about the subpoena and the committee. And this is just from I'm not an attorney, but just from my cursory glance from covering things for years. Why would the House Criminal Jurisprudence Committee have standing in this case for a court to even consider?
Right. I mean, we know that it's unprecedented, but it could be looked at both ways. Either way you go, whether he's not executed could be viewed as breaking the law, but then violating the subpoena could also be viewed as breaking the law. It's just one can be undone and the other cannot.
Oh, yeah, well said there. And then back to the judges for a moment. What do you think is going on with the judges for not following the law? I mean, that's what the legislature gathers for, is to pass these laws and hand them down to law enforcement and the judges to actually carry out.
That's a great question. And again, we are unsure of that. Now, we did see movement in moving from a 6-3 denial to a 5-4 denial. So we have seen movement there. And that's why we are asking for a pause, because clearly there is some rethinking and people looking at things, some of these judges. And again, I know that we have thoughtful elected officials and judges in our state. And so I am hopeful with moving from 6-3 to 5-4 that we keep moving in the right direction. And there was another shaken baby case, and no, it was not a death penalty case, but it was another shaken baby case that they ruled on, and said that that man can have a new trial under the junk science statute. So we are hoping the same for Robert.
What do you expect to happen tonight?
I am hoping that he is not executed. I am hoping that the pause button is pushed, whether, again, there are so many things at play here and options. And so wherever it comes from, I hope that the pause button is pushed and he is not executed.
Have you or your colleagues heard back from the governor at all? It sounds like he's the last chance, right?
We have not, and I know that he is very thoughtful along with his staff and are being thoughtful and careful. So I know that this is not something that they are taking lightly. I am unsure at this time what's going to happen, but it's not just him. The subpoena, Robert could be subpoenaed and he could have to show up on Monday to testify. The Court of Criminal Appeals can intervene. The Supreme Court can intervene. So there are many options here.
Well, what do you think's most realistic? You know the politics,
Yeah.
Representative. You've been around there for a minute. What do you think's most realistic at this point in this state?
Well, I mean, again, we saw movement from 6-3 to 5-4 the other day with the Court of Criminal Appeals. So I am hoping that that we will see even more movement today, and we will have a positive outcome for Robert Roberson, and that he will not be executed.
The Board of Pardons and Paroles unanimously rejected his case. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals also rejected it. There'll be people watching this who say, "Listen, this case played out the way it was supposed to play out. Everything happened the way it was supposed to happen." What do you say to those folks?
I completely disagree. And if anyone has any questions, then you should read everything that has been filed, read the state, what they have filed, and read everything from Robert's attorney and what they have filed, and watch the House Criminal Jurisprudence Committee hearing that was held, because there is so much information there that clearly contradicts what the state says, from medical experts testifying to the lead investigator. Clearly, there is false information that is out there about Robert and what happened. And this was not blunt force trauma. This was not shaken baby. This little girl sadly died of natural causes.
Issuing the subpoena is a new tactic for you guys. It's unprecedented for lawmakers to do this. Talk about kind of how that came about. Who brought this up? How did it come about?
It was members of the committee, and they felt like for legislative purpose, they needed Robert to come and testify again to find out more in depth of why our junk science statute is not being followed, to have that firsthand information from Robert that no one else can explain except Robert. And especially as a man with autism, he was automatically initially viewed as a suspect, and as the guilty party because of how he presented as a man with autism. And so again, no one else can speak to that except for Robert. And so to understand our junk science statute and how this has played out, we need Robert to come and testify before the House Criminal Jurisprudence Committee.
And if that was granted, that would be on Monday. Is that how soon it would happen?
Yes, yes, on
And
Monday.
and then if it happens on Monday, I mean, what would the committee do with that testimony? Because it would be a 30-day reprieve, right?
Right. Well, so it just depends. And at that point, we don't know. Will the Supreme Court have a ruling? Will the Court of Criminal Appeals have a ruling? Will the governor make a decision? We just don't know. But we do know that in order for the legislature to know why and how our junk science statute is being implemented and clearly has failed Robert in his case, we need Robert's firsthand testimony.
Last question for you here. This case has Republicans and Democrats that I wouldn't normally think would work together, actually working together. I'm thinking Gene Wu and Brian Harrison. I wouldn't know they're in the same room very often, putting things together. What is it about this case that has drawn so many people from different corners together to try to handle it?
About an innocent man being executed in our state. And so, no matter where people stand on the death penalty, no one wants to see an innocent man being executed. So, you have many of us, including myself, pro life Republicans, who are out here because we don't want to see an innocent man being executed. Their parental rights concerns of we see this happen all the time with medical child abuse and child abuse in general, where parents are falsely accused. It's just very rare that we see them on death row. And so this is again from across numerous different reasons, the disability rights issues because he has autism. There's so many different things at play here as to why members from both parties, all different factions, have all come together to say this is wrong. He needs a new trial, and we need to push pause.
Are you surprised then that the message really hasn't been received by the Pardons and Paroles Board, Pardon and Paroles Board, or the Court of Criminal Appeals?
It is surprising. And so it's clear to me that they are not looking at all of the information. They just can't be. There is no way that you can look at all of the information, everything that is out there, and think that he doesn't deserve a new trial.
And the last question, let me ask it a little differently this time. What should we read into Democrats and Republicans working together on this? Folks that I wouldn't really think would work together on issues that have come together on this. What should we read into that?
That it's very clear that most of us, believe Robert is innocent, and either way needs a new trial. And so the fact that you have members from both parties coming together on that, the message is clear. The legislature, Texans want Robert to have a new trial.
Are you going to be in Austin? Or are you going to go up to Huntsville, or where are you going to be tonight?
I
Tonight, I'm sorry.
I will be going to Huntsville and praying that I am able to turn around and don't have to go.
All right. Representative, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.